Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to go over a question taken from our review derivatives of Unit 1. The question is number 13. This question involving the product rule, and I put the formulas for the product rule here for everyone to refer to. So in working with the product rule, it doesn't matter which term that you identify U or V, because you have a sum as the result of this product rule. However, I always identify my very first term as U and my second one as V. So if you identify V as 3x to the exponent 3 and U as this binomial raised to the exponent 2, at the end, the final answer should still be the same. However, I always pick my very first term as my U and the second term as my V. So U equal to 3x to the exponent 3. So I will use the word let U equal to here, so that if you want to let U equal to this binomial raised to the exponent is at the exact same procedure, and your final answer should be the same. Okay, so immediately after this, I will take derivative of U with respect to x. So du over dx equal to 3 times 3 will give me 9. At the same time, I need to take 1 away from the exponent, so that would be x squared. Okay, so I'm going to let V equal to 5x subtract 6x squared, all of it raised to the exponent 2. So in this binomial raised to this exponent, what you need to remember is, okay, so let me fix the x here. What you need to remember is that you are raising a function to a power. So you have U raised to exponent n in this case. So that means you have to apply the chain rule. So derivative of V with respect to x. So using the chain rule, I need to take 2 multiplied by the coefficient in front of this binomial. In this case, it's a 1. It's an invisible 1. So 2 times 1 will give me 2. At the same time, I will take 1 away from the exponent. So this time, I will write 2 minus 1. Okay, just to clarify to everyone that I take 1 away from this exponent for this binomial. And applying the chain rule, I must multiply by derivative of what inside the bracket. Derivative of what inside the bracket will be derivative of 5x is 5. Derivative of negative 6x squared will give me negative 12x. Okay, and then I close the bracket. So in this case, I need to apply the chain rule. So chain rule is derivative of U to the exponent n as a function of x. So will be n times U, and then multiply by du over dx. So in this case, I should be n times U, n minus 1, and then I multiply by du over dx. Okay, so just a quick reminder to everyone right here. Okay, and the next step is to substitute what we have found into our formulas for the product rule. Okay, so at this point, I am differentiating, so I need to write dy over dx. Okay, so first of all, U is 3x to the exponent 3, and the next one is dv over dx, so I have to write 2 times 5x minus 6x squared. Okay, at this time I will not write the 1 because the 1 is invisible, and we have to assume that it's a 1 when there isn't any exponent here. And I will add that with the V, which is 5x minus 6x squared, all of it raised to exponent 2, and I multiply that with du over dx, which is 9x squared. So let's double check, and I just want to clarify to everyone, right here is my U, and this whole thing here is my dv over dx. Okay, so double check that we are good. So here is the V, and right here is du over dx. So we follow the product rule. Before we want to go into the complicated step of factoring this out and then simplify our answer, it's a good idea to check if we have everything that we need, that we have here. Okay, so now in terms of factoring, I would like to go over step by step I can skip that step. However, I want to explain to everyone in details to why we can factor out certain term, and then all the the little step behind the factoring. Okay, because I understand that over the years, when we learn how to factor, we will just do a quick factoring, and we forget that in factoring, it means that we find the lowest common factor, and then we divide that common factor into each of our term for this entire sum. All right, okay. So first of all, you are going to take a look at the term that you have here as a product, right? So between here as a product, so I write a bracket to show everyone that it's a product of all of this term. So we are going to examine each term one at a time. So 3x cubed, I'm going to take a look at my second term in the sum here. So I want to see the common factors of the 3x cubed, what I can find in the 9x squared, obviously, right? So 3x cubed and 9x squared, I can find the common factor in there. So it has to be the lowest. So in this case, I will ask everyone to write lowest common factor, do one step at a time. So between 3 and 9, I should have 3, right? Okay. Between x cubed and x squared, I should have x squared, because you always take the term with the lower exponent. Okay, so the next one, I would like to take a look at this is number 2. Is there anything that divisible by number 2 here? I don't. Because don't forget, in taking out the lowest common factor, you need to divide that common factor into each of this term. But then, that's why you always ask yourself, you have 2, is there any term that divisible by 2 here? No. Okay, so you don't have any. Now, take a look at this next one. So this one, I'm going to put it in this box for everyone to see. So they are common factor for sure. So you want to divide this into this. That means you need to pick the one with the lower exponent. So you are going to pick 5x, subtract 6x squared, raised to the exponent 1. Okay, but I don't want to write raised to exponent 1 here, because we all understand that nothing here means that is the exponent 1. Okay, so the next term you want to take a look is 5 minus 12x. You don't find anything here that is common with that. So your lowest common factor now becomes this whole product. So now you are going to take this whole product and you divide into each of this term. You can skip this step if you want to. However, I would like to go over this step by step, so that everyone will realize why we end up with certain terms at the end. Okay, so I will write 3x squared, 5x minus 6x squared as a common factor, because the common factor, we use the word that we pull it out of the brackets. Okay, pull it out of the bracket. Okay, pull it out of the bracket. What does it mean? That means inside this bracket, I have 2 terms, right? 2 terms. So the common factor means that I will divide this common factor into each of this expression. I have this expression adding with this expression of this product, adding with this product. So I will break them into 2, and I divide each of this into this product. Okay, so 3x to the exponent 3. I multiply this with 2. I multiply with 5x minus 6x squared, and I multiply with 5 minus 12x. Okay, so in here I need to write the common factor down. Okay, so bear with me. This is quite lengthy. However, it's explained a lot. Okay, but if you don't want to write the step and you can figure out your common factor right away, then you don't have to. Okay, because I explaining this to everyone, so I need to write down the process behind common factoring. Okay, and I do have students sending me questions, asking me about this question, so I really need to go over this in details. Okay, so now I am going to divide this into this numerators. So you can see immediately you can cancel that 3 with that 3, that cancel with that. Okay, now you have x cubed and then x squared. So in this case, I can cancel that, but I will have one x left over. Okay, so x cubed divided by x squared will have x left over. So for this second expression, so what I'm going to have is, you see, I have x squared cancel out, 3 cancel with the 9, so I have 3 left on top. And for this one, you have this binomial raised to exponent 2. You divide it by the same binomial raised to exponent 1. So in your answer should just left with just 5x minus 6x squared, all of it raised to exponent 1. So you see that, cancel that. And I cross out the 2 so that I will have left over. So my next step, I will write dy over dx equal to 3x squared, 5x minus 6x squared. And what do I have left inside the bracket? I have 2. Okay, don't forget this 2 and time with 1x here. So I should have x, 2x. And then multiplied it with 5 minus 12x. Alright, okay. And then the second one, I should have 3 left over and multiply with 5x minus 6x squared. I hope that this step will not confuse anyone. Because it's explained a lot of details behind how I end up with this 2x times 5 minus 12x plus 3 times 5x minus 6x squared. Okay, so whenever we are not sure and we don't want to guess, and if we end up with the wrong answer, we should perform this step to make sure that we divide this common factor into each of these terms correctly. Okay, so my next step is I will multiply or expand or distribute the term so that I can simplify what I see inside the bracket. Okay, so dy over dx equal to 3x squared times 5x minus 6x squared. Okay, so inside the bracket I should have 10x subtract 24x squared. Okay, plus 15x subtract 18x squared. Alright, so inside the bracket, what do I get? Okay, so let me move on to my next page. 3x squared times 5x minus 6x squared. Inside the bracket, I can combine the like term. So you can see that in here, I can combine that with that. I also combine this with this. Okay, so I should have 25x subtract 42x squared. Okay, I need to simplify further here because I can see that inside this bracket, I can take out the x, right? So this one, I can take out the x. So I can have x here, and inside the bracket, I left with 5 minus 6x. Okay, and for this one, I can take out the x as well. Okay, so here I will put times x, and then I will have 25 minus 42x left inside the bracket. So in the end, my final answer will be dy over dx. Okay, so you see that you are combining 3x squared with the x, and then with that x, I should have 3 times x to the exponent 4 multiplied by 5 minus 6x and multiplied by 25 minus 42x as my final answer for this differentiation. Okay, excuse me. All right, so this is the final simplified answer that I expected of this question. Okay, so in the end, you see that you cannot factor any further. So the main thing for this question is this. So the most confusing part is to take out the common factor, okay, and make sure that you have the correct term left inside the brackets. And I strongly recommend that if you don't recognize this step right here right away, okay, then what you do is you perform the step for the common factoring, Okay, common factoring is you find common factor and you divide that common factor into each of the term inside the bracket. All right, so this is the final answer. Thank you, everyone.